And let's talk short-term social. So the first thing I want to talk about is the different places that short-term social shows up. So first we've got Snapchat. They kind of kicked it off, and for a long time we all sort of thought of Snapchat as this thing for teenagers who don't want to get busted sharing things they shouldn't share. And so it was very limited to them and exclusive to people doing things they shouldn't be doing online. And then that kind of evolved, and marketers like me started embracing this tool as a way to share really off the cuff, short term, more real, maybe a little less polished content. And then Instagram rolled out Instagram stories, and short term content really exploded by being embraced by another network. Now, Instagram, in my opinion, has two versions of this short-term social. One is Instagram stories, but two is Instagram Live. See, Instagram Live also fits into this short-term social because it does expire. If you don't watch it live, there is no replay. There is no other option. And Periscope kind of fit into this for a while, because you can only get the replay for 24 hours and things like that. But that's not the case anymore. So that's not really there. So Instagram really offering the two is really what brought this to us in a more mainstream kind of way. And then, of course, Facebook recently, within the last month for sure, the last few weeks maybe, releasing Facebook stories, which I'll be honest, no one's using. So I wanted to, while we were actually on this, I'm going to open up my Facebook app, and I have two people who currently have stories on Facebook stories, and I have shared a couple of Facebook stories, and I will be honest, I don't think anyone's watching them. Like, it's just not being used, and you can actually see I have two stories on Facebook, and all of the people I'm connected with, two people. So it's not really taking off in the way that I think Facebook hoped it would, but that doesn't mean that it's not relevant. Just because it's not working on Facebook doesn't mean it's not going to make sense for us. I think my opinion for my space, at least my community, is I know a lot of you don't have this app on your phone anymore. You have the Groups app, and maybe you have your Pages app, but you're not using the main newsfeed app on your phone much these days. And I totally get why. It is a time suck of an app, as is Facebook. But it's a great way to connect, and you can sort of bypass your newsfeed and do that in your groups. Cool. But I'm wondering if that's part of the reason that Facebook Stories is having a hard time sort of getting any real leverage, any real use from anyone. Back though to where it is really successful, and that's Instagram stories. People are using Instagram stories like crazy. So let's actually, on the flip side, let's open up my Instagram app. You'll see, if my Instagram app cooperates here, there's a ton of stories. In fact, I have one. You can tell because I have the little colored circle around my profile image. I have a story going today. But there's a ton of people using Instagram stories because they're a really quick and easy way for us to share the inside, the behind the scenes, the what we want to talk about right now with our community, with our audience, with the people who need it. And so the time has really come for you to figure out, where does this type of content fit into my overall content? And here's the thing, is the best way to use short-term stories is really in conjunction with the other things you're sharing. So you've got an editorial calendar for your content on your blog or your podcast or your video. You might have an editorial calendar for things like this, for Facebook Lives or YouTube content or Twitter videos or whatever kind of content you're doing in addition to that. And maybe, if I'm really lucky, you also have an editorial calendar or an idea of the kind of things you're sharing on social media. When you factor in the kind of things you're sharing on social media, include in that list the things you are sharing on stories. That's right. It's a support piece. It's an additional part of your social media because it is your social media. It's just a different medium, a different way of sharing it. So pay attention to ways you can drive traffic to your other social content, to your podcast, to your videos, to your Facebook Lives. A great example is today I shared a Snap and an Instagram story that I was going to do this Facebook Live. And some of you who are watching this right now joined us because you heard me talk about it there. Some of you saw me talk about short-term social the other day when I talked about Backstage has a new training on it. Or on the podcast on Tuesday, we talked about short-term social being one of the 3 things you need to know this month when it comes to social media. Are you seeing a theme there? We're talking about something in lots of different places and allowing these things to support each other and connect with each other. All right? That's how you want to be using your short-term social. In the same way you are sharing anything else, because these things all work together. Now, the thing that's unique about this is you're going to connect slightly differently. A little more off the cuff, maybe, a little more casual, a little more personal than maybe you would in other places. For example, I share a lot of behind the scenes stuff on my stories. This is especially powerful. We have clients who are doing this, but are sharing behind the scenes of their live events or their production schedules for live content or podcast content or video content, who are showing behind the scenes of the way things are actually built. So product development, website developments, building strategies for their clients, behind the scenes on VIP days, really sharing sort of behind the curtain in your business with your audience. I do this a lot with how I do things because it allows me to provide value and lead by example. So when I'm doing, a couple weeks ago, we worked on 12-month plans for some sort of launch dates and things like that when marketing things needed to roll out. And I put up some big yellow Post-it notes, which are what I always do my planning on. And guess what? I shared that stuff on Snapchat and Instagram stories because it allowed me to lead by example, show I'm walking the talk, and also it allowed me to give you a peek behind the scenes, full transparency. And granted, I wasn't like, okay, this is the program and this is the strategy we're using and here's how it will all execute and here. No, it was hey, these are the tools I'm using. I do this too. We all, whatever that connection message is for you. So open that curtain up and show your clients behind the scenes. I also, because I'm a personal brand and I talk a little bit about lifestyle from time to time and the things I'm able to do because of the business I've built and honestly because of the planning and preparation and consistency at which I do things, I'll show fun stuff, when we go to theme parks or the beach, or I'm hanging out with my kid midday at school because I'm able to step back in my business. I share that stuff too. So a mix of behind the scenes, aspirational, who you are. It's a powerful connection point, especially for so many of you who are personal brands. So use this to allow yourself to have a little more comfort in sharing the personal stuff. Now, I'm not saying that this needs to now be essentially a live stream of your day. Not all things, good, bad, and ugly, have to be shared on social. In fact, they shouldn't. There are absolutely things in your life that get to remain yours. In fact, the only place you'll ever see my kid on social is the occasional Snapchat or Instagram story. You won't ever see him on social in something that is searchable and lasts and things like that. You'll also only ever see him in certain lights, like when we're out and about or things like that. You won't see us sort of hanging out or even when he was tiny, I didn't do like bath time or anytime it's just he and I, that's he and I time. And so I keep that separate from my social. Personally, I'm a big fan of that no matter what it is you're using social for. I don't share every moment of my life, but I do share honestly a picture at what it's like day to day to do what I do. And that's where stories come into play, because you can share that little more small moments, a little more behind the scenes, a little more unpolished to support the stuff that is polished, that is prepped, that is planned, that is scheduled. And that's really the support piece that I like with short-term social. So quick and dirty, I just wanted to get that out and share with you kind of how I'm using it, why it's relevant, why it's important. If you want to learn more about this stuff, be sure to head over to hitthemicbackstage.com. Their brand new training came out on Monday. We'll have Ask Me Anything next week or the week after. Definitely one of those two in the next couple of weeks, where you can ask me absolutely anything, of course, but our main topic will, of course, be short-term social because that's the training of the month. So head over there, watch that. If you're not yet a member, you're going to have to sign up first, but I'm assuming you all know the genius that is Backstage and are already a member, right? Of course. All right. Until next time, new podcast comes out next Tuesday. I'll see you here next week, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Take action. Do the work. Start figuring out how this stuff makes sense for you. That's really what I want to see. All right. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.